Hello and welcome to a seasonal map cup cast. This time another random Automatch cast. We have BaByuByu on Soviet Union, another capture of him. And on Soviets, he's running guard motor with guard rifle, shock rifle frontline, so everything's pretty much the same. Triple conscript bulletins, the north end of Langerskaya, the 3% increase reload. Accuracy, 2% faster between shots and reload for his bulletins. And then in the bottom, we got some gibberish going on, some OST player here. Running Ostrupen, hasn't built it yet and went into the infantry company, so I doubt he's going Ostrupen in any way. Jaeger infantry and mobile defense, so all pretty standard with the triple grenadier bulletins, 2% faster between shots and reload, 3% increase reload, and then 5% faster between shots. And we'll go ahead and see how they move out. In Langerskaya here. For those of you that know the map, there's a ton wrong with it that I could point out, like the lack of a cutoff and things up here. But we got a cutoff and a cutoff. You see a lot of the main engagements happen across this with the negative cover road right down the middle. We have a small little plaza-esque area to the east on the VP, and then to the west with a few more buildings, a little bit more site blockers, and the fuels that are not at all balanced, as this one is much closer than this one. But you know, don't listen to me. I'm not a map maker at all. And we'll see the prioritization on the Pioneers head over into the west, and he's actually floating a little bit of manpower there, and there he goes. He goes into the Grenadier a little bit late, but it's just going to be Grens versus Cons. We have the sandbags being built by the conscripts in the middle VP, and the conscripts hopping out of the garrison and pushing this MG42 that was a little bit out of position, sending it back home. So far, not a whole hell of a lot coming out yet. Combat engineers do grab up their fuel and head their way into the territory point. Surprised that he's not trying to get some sandbags down through this, as he could get flanked from the south or from the west. Just utilize that time a little bit more, but I guess he could go back into the VP. He does manage to find his way into the planked house on the far west by the munitions point and find some grenadiers that are just finished capping up that point. Grenadiers protecting the cutoff in some bushes, and the conscripts will back their way up behind some hay bales. Another set of conscripts, another set of Grens. Just some light skirmishing for now. MG42 back from the retreat from the original capture of it being out of position, and will help force those conscripts on the way for the Grenadiers to advance, with the MG42 packing up and moving up behind it. Meanwhile, the conscripts still hanging out in this house. Grenadiers drop one model, the conscripts drop another. So far, fair trade. Pioneers look like they're interested in just heading back from the fuel. I'm not sure what he's doing. He could have moved up along the flank here and got nice close, but didn't want to. And the conscripts will make their way over into the fuel now, and the Pioneer looks like it's just ready for a full frontal assault. Just going to walk right up and say hello to him. MG42 capturing that territory point with the Grenadiers covering the eastern flank of it, while another set grab up the territory point a little bit even further east. And there's the Flying Warfare 35. That's why the full frontal assault was happening. And he'll toast up those conscripts and get them out of there. With the focus of two squads, though, he is standing on negative cover, but he's going to hop into this house and take that garrison away from those conscripts. Those conscripts got to head home sooner rather than later. They're taking a lot of damage from this Flying Warfare. And he doesn't want to risk dropping or having that crit on the last model for that Flying Warfare squad. So he's going to head on home, especially with that flanking squad from the northwest on the conscripts. He's going to cap up that munitions point. Now the Grenadiers are in a little bit of a precarious situation. Molotov's teched already, and he's going to have to retreat on and away. Grenadier squad hanging out in the middle VP, trying to find a way to find some shots and potentially protect this, but he does lose his munitions. And I like this movement from our Soviet player. He just gets a soft neutralization from this, and he's going to head over on into the fuel and soft decap that too, forcing a lot of manpower to react to the west instead of moving along the front line in the north and to the east to cap up anything. But he does take away the fuel in the northeast. Our OST player Grenadier squad has worked its way all the way up and across from there. MG42 working its way back into the munitions, and we'll assuredly have the Flying Warfare squad and a Grenadier move over to support it. We do have the light mechanized ready to go, but not being built yet, as he's being forced to use his Pioneer squad, his only squad that can build that tech building. Forced to fight. Grenadier squad does catch out some conscripts erecting a sandbag wall on the VP, and they don't manage to get it completed, but they do stop building it so they don't take a ton of damage from that bonus received accuracy while building. And Flame Pyo's not interested in this. He does know that he's lost his fuel. He knows there's a squad there, but looks like he's more interested in pushing these conscripts off. Rifle nade off the money, and the conscript squad will go home after dodging that. Flying Warfare squad does catch out those conscripts and no cover here, but as they move back a little bit, the Flying Warfare will not be able to engage anymore, so they'll be just using their submachine guns and not doing a whole hell of a lot of damage from this range. But honestly, it's just swapped over. We do have the fuel being secured and held courtesy of this tank, and it doesn't look like he's paying attention at all from this Molotov coming in. He does catch the initial burst, but does move back a little bit, dropping a model from that little bit of damage. And it's 3v4 here. Conscripts could potentially win this. He's trying to find the cover that he just denied from himself. And the Grenadiers do get the conscripts to pull a loop around, trying to chase this Flame Pile squad. Another Molotov thrown down, catches it again, drops that initial model and pushing on in through. MG42 interested in setting up on the retreat path, and he points it back home. So if he was unlucky, he could have a squad coming up from behind their flank, but he's looking for this straight away, and there he goes. He sets it up for the retreat path. So conscripts have quite a precarious retreat path with the MG42 firing down the back of Boris here, and he does go down. Conscripts find a Grenadier squad retreating, but a second one was tagged out. And these conscripts are going to be able to take this point here, which is going to serve as a cutoff into the fuel. So this will be defended. Now, the good news is it's being denied from his Soviet opponent, but the double fuel income is not being maintained. Now, he will sit here and fight this, and he does have his Western fuel ready to go, but he should be able to win this engagement short of another Molotov coming down. That tractor has all but been annihilated. So much fighting has happened for it, and they're standing in those fire. They're going to have to go home. No one engagement there. Flame piles move up and will toast these conscripts. The conscripts did get the retreat from the 2-model Grenadier squad, but no way in hell they win that engagement with bursts like that. And another model goes down. Only one makes it home from that 6-man conscript squad. The Flaming Warfare 35 doing work. And honestly, I'd like to see him put an S-mine field here with the setup behind the sandbags. He has a lot of time to be able to do it, but if that was me, I would end up losing this Flaming Warfare squad as 2 sets of conscripts come up. And it looks like he was actually thinking about it there for a moment, potentially. MG42 was covering them, but he does walk away. He is being so cheeky with his soft retreat. And MG42 finds suppression on the one conscript squad. The other one that isn't being fired at, Uraz, he has to retreat this Flame Pioneer. There he goes. He does. He's going to hop into the building and potentially find some shots on this. He'll be very unlucky if he does get dropped. He stops moving, fires a few volleys, but doesn't connect. MG42 now no longer interested in sustaining its position. And we do have the light mechanized going down, or excuse me, the tank battalion going down for our Soviet player, and that will assuredly be a T-70. Use this gun for now until he manages to get the fuel for it. And light mechanized still not built for our OST player. Grenadiers grabbing up the territory point that caps them back into the fuel that's now changed hands to the Soviet player. Soviet player, once again, he really interesting that he keeps prioritizing the decap, the soft decap of the munitions, and then works his way over into the fuel. And it's really kind of impressive how often he finds his way over here, managing to punish his opponent. Panzer Grenadiers called in, so this is the Jaeger infantry, so we will see the hero squad, as it has every ability under the sun. These Grenadiers might be overstaying their welcome, however. I was going to give a little intro into all their abilities, but this Grenadier squad's hanging out here for way too long, and that PM41 was on the money, would have wiped it, but maybe the Jaeger Command Squad will be able to push on and keep on the pressure from this east, or excuse me, the west side of the map being capped over and over again. But Jaeger Command Squad comes with every ability under the sun. It's a Model 24 smoke nade. It has the Panzerfaust, the rifle nade, sprint. It has everything that you could ever dream of. And eventually, when it gets vet, it has a flare, just in case you needed a little bit of knowledge. And he doesn't see that. Oh my, that rifle nade right on the money for those conscripts. And does the Flaming Warfare connect? And it doesn't. He just toasts up the ground. Grenadiers can't find it, but he could have potentially gotten a wipe there. They were very clumped. They do pay for their movement through the munitions and for the fuel. Eastern fuel taken up again. It looks like 2 sets of Grenadiers are being forced to retreat, and there's a T-70 on the production line. No pack, nothing for our OST player, and this is, once again, simply because he's been being forced to fight with his Pioneer squad as the western side struggles very much so in keeping these garrisons cleared just because of the site blocker set up here. Is putting down the teller mine. Will it be enough? Will he be able to bait directly into this teller mine and watch it get one shot? It will prioritize the negative cover road here. See where this T-70 decides to go, but it is hit the field. Another rifle nade. From the sounds of things. Maybe I misheard, but it sounded like a grenade was being shot. Either way, PM-41 trying to throw some rocks around, trying to connect onto these Grenadiers and not really doing it. There he goes. Does find one shot. T-70 does show right in the middle. It's going to head into the east. And the MG42 does not have Vet 1, so it can't even think about slightly countering this T-70 with the incendiary rounds. It is shooting into it. The T-70 does set up a little bit misplaced, as it will repeatedly shoot the green cover here until it moves out a little bit. So buying the MG42 some time to react. The Grenadiers with the FOST threat will get it to move on and back. And there is finally a Zis gun being queued up. But where is the light mechanized? He is going to struggle immensely, and retreating these Pioneers is almost assuredly him building light mechanized for the pack, but it's too little too late. T-70 is going to run across this map. Oh, he actually teched into support armor, excuse me. Oh, there's a little bit of a chance left then. If he can find the fuel and manage to hold his fuel to even get into an Ostwind or a Stug. And the combat engineers, they do find the teller mine, so teller mine is going to go down. It looked like for a second there that he hadn't noticed. Tripwire flare being placed by the conscripts, just converting that nice cheeky little bit of 10-hole munitions into free manpower bleed, so hyper effective in terms of converting the munitions into manpower bleed, especially if it can find the Jaeger Command Squad or any of these Grens at a Panzer IV straight away. All right, he's ready to go. E70 window. It's getting smaller and smaller. T-70 still will do what it does best, though, delete infantry. And against OST, it very much so exceeds at that. Another combat engineer now coming out for a Soviet player. And Grenadiers moving up in the east again, and the LMG Grens do drop that one model straight away, for courtesy of the tripwire flare. Lava Warfare Squad being caught out by 2 sets of conscripts. And MG42 set up here to suppress, but it's not going to get that pin in time, so the soft decap on that will go down. Panzer IV is going to have a lot of work for it in regaining this map control. Here she comes. Everybody being forced to retreat out in the west, or excuse me, the east, as the T-70 pushes up in. He might snare this if he pushes too far. Double tripwire flares here at 2 separate Grenadier squads, and the Panzer IV drives into the base, and it's going to sit here and do some circles while the T-70 just casually deletes this Grenadier squad for sure on retreat. There's no way in hell that they make it out with the conscripts on that retreat path as well. Flying Warfare 35 squad on the Pioneers, the next victim for the T-70. T-70 firing away, just fine, and shot after shot connect. Panzer IV is going to do what it does best and miss wildly on the move. But the only thing that's going to be able to stop this is a Zis gun, and the Zis gun's barrage is, her angle is not going to be able to find it. Panzer IV a little bit slower than this T-70, and he gets juked for it. Zis gun sets up, finds that shot somehow, but doesn't actually hit, and that Panzer IV is on the hunt. It wants that T-70 so desperately. While all this is going on, Pioneers are being engaged by the conscript squad that's left over, and the Grens are still hanging out weakened for that tripwire flare. Panzer IV runs over the green cover outside the base here, and the conscripts looking for that snare potentially, but the T-70 does head all the way across the base from one corner to the other to get home safely. Meanwhile, he did move across, and by he I mean our OST player, and recap a lot of the map, and the tripwire flare goes off in the middle from the Panzer IV, so net damage dealt there. TM35 mine down the middle. He needs another Pioneer squad with a hazard removal package, and he has built another one, but doesn't have the munitions for it quite yet. Ziskan hanging out in the middle, potentially thinking about a barrage with that TM-35 mine. That'd be a nice catch, but he goes for the Jaeger command squad behind his sandbags. So unless he gets the perfect lob, he's not going to be able to find a connection on these until the sandbags are destroyed. Now that it's destroyed, more incentive to go on home. Panzer IV rolling up into the east to support this aggressive maneuver from the Grenadiers, and Grenadiers still just focusing on the Ziskan. Ziskan finds a shot and a connection onto the Panzer IV, and the Grenadiers way oversee their welcome against all these conscripts. That negative cover retreat path of both these cons would have moved forward with it. He could potentially wiped. LMG Gren's trying desperately to find some kills onto this. Ziskan firing on and away through the sight blocker. That is the hay bale. Nice attack ground. The one shot does hit, but the next one is a miss. T-70 moving up and being annoying. And there's the snare from the conscript, and he could just oorah after this if he had another set of conscripts after. In fact, the T-70 could kill this with its rear armor exposed like that. Two sets of Pioneers are going to look to repair this. Ziskan combat engineers, both with hazard removal. I'm surprised an ROKS-3 was not the choice. And conscripts looking for it potentially, but it looks like the Panzer IV is going to utilize the road and get all the way back home in the southeast. T-70 in the north, pushing an MG-42 with double vet away, and the Flam Werfer squad is going home, and he did indeed call in shocks on Langerskaya of all maps. So maybe just using this for smoke, I'm not really sure, but this is the beginning of the throw for a Soviet Union player, as these are extremely expensive, have no snares, and only are good at killing infantry at very, very close range. 31 manpower per model to reinforce. T-70 does back on and away. Doesn't want to bleed any more manpower. Taking quite a bit of damage. T-70 just doing what it does best. Deleting infantry. Panzer IV should be able to be repaired up, but it's not the dream that he wanted.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Another TM-35. Both players utilizing mines quite well. Well, not both players. We had one teller mine go down, which spurred double hazard removal package from these competent engineers. I'm very surprised that one of these is not an ROKS-3. But he's stabilized, and by he I mean our OST player, but he has quite the uphill battle to fight back, as he is drastically down in VPs. And the longer this game pulls out and delays and waits, the more and more likely that we're going to see an IS-2 come into the play. Or VPs away from it, however. Or more accurately, 3 3/4 of away from the IS-2. But LMG's out. Laser pointers all over on these Grens. You'll be able to win these engagements quite easily now against these conscripts. And there's a tier 4 being built. Now, I'm curious to see if he goes T-3476 or if he's going to go an Su-85. Maybe even a Katusha. I'm not really sure. He could go multiple ways with this, but it doesn't, with that being built, it doesn't look like he's very interested in waiting for the IS-2. It's just too far away in CPs. The snare comes out too early and doesn't get the damage engine. The Panzer IV finds a shot basically point blank, dropping quite a few of those conscripts and had the potential to go down, and now it's the LMG time. T-70 is going to have to stop this little horde of Grenadiers, only one squad not wielding the LMGs. Luckily for this Ziskan, they can't fire them while in the move, and another Panzer IV is a choice for our OST player. PM-41, excuse me, that was not the PM-41, that was some combat engineers for the OST player hitting that TM-35, and the Panzer IV really wants this. T-70 main gun destroyed, still headed into the base, and where's those shocks at? He needs that smoke, and he stops moving, finds a shot at almost maximum distance, and picks up the kill on the T-70, and the Ziskan is down, and now it's looking really bad for our Soviet Union player, and he's going to the T-3476, no surprise there. Stolen with the LMG squad of all squads. I guess it was the only one that had 4 models left. And he's going to try and take this Ziskan back home. Shock's forced to retreat just because of the existence of the Panzer IV and the LMGs and the rifle nades against this. He's just going to retreat at all. The PM-41 will start firing shortly, and the Molotov denying the area they were in, not even really any cover. We'll get those Grenadiers to head home. Panzer IV with no snare headed home. Second one, however, is coming out to play. could potentially drive right into this mine. No way to pick up on it. Replacing the Zisgun now. T-34-76 is going to have the hell of a time fighting 2 Panzer IVs. And it's hunting. Hunting for the weakened one. Weakened one's all the way back home, though. 2 Pioneers will be able to repair that up. I'm curious to see if he does go into Tier 4. Has he yet? No, he has not. And go into the Brumbar. But honestly, his anti-infantry effectiveness with the LMG Grens as they accumulate vet will be more than enough. Panzer IV runs right into that mine. And this could be the chance. T-34-76 looking like it was interested, but it is no longer. Zisgun did get decrewed. He canceled his own. Recues it again. Panzer IV not repaired all the way back up from back home. None of these Grenadiers can grab it up except for the one without the LMG. Panzer IV interested in taking on this T-34-76. Finds the pen. Panzer IV bounces off the frontal armor. The T-34-76. T-34-76 retaliates with another pen. Oh, he really wishes he could go for that. Or had his Zisgun backing this up. T-34-76 fires into those Grenadiers. And then they all retreat. Looks like that's a control group retreat if I've ever seen one, but he does get out of there. And LMG Grens with 1 model missing coming up to support the Zisgun that was stolen. Can he find the Faust? It doesn't look like he can. There is another Panzer IV that was repaired up by the Pioneers, so this T-34-76 is really far forward, but it's going to focus down this Zisgun. You should point the hold MG at this as it does a lot of damage, and the Panzer IV does what it does best on the move, misses again as it comes up to retaliate onto this. And he tries to get it. Double Panzer IV, Zisgun not decrewed from not pointing it correctly, and all those shots connect. T-34-76 goes down. He mispositioned this tank. He could have picked that up with a little bit extra DPS from the frontal hull gun there. But there it goes, and Soviet Union looking worse, even more worse for wear. And the Zisgun's going to make it all the way back to the OST player's base, so the chances of actually recrewing that are slim to none now. And at this point, it might be time to... He might be really regretting building that T-34-76, as it accomplished next to nothing except for some Grenadier models. And that's quite a big chunk of fuel away from the IS-2. But double Panzer IV, going to keep him in this game. Now, the big issue is that he has no VPs. So, if he can get all of this held up with some Zisguns, he could potentially stabilize, and this thing's just catching shot after shot. Even the PM-41 hits it. Zisgun firing every shot and penning with every shot. All 3 of them onto that. Shocks have yet to accomplish a damn thing that I've seen. MG-42 threads the needle down the road into the middle VP here and gets suppression onto the Shocks and the retreat from the combat engineers. Shocks suppression wears off and they're just going to walk away a little bit. PM-41 fires into this middle VP and the Hungarian blob, I guess is what we'll call it. Grenadiers move on forward. And Tier 4 was just teched by our OST player. Grens have to move in a pack of 4 at all times, clearly. He will go ahead and cap up the east end of this. Conscript's going to have a little bit of a fun time retreating through all these LMGs, but they might live. PM-41 finds a shot onto those Grens, deals a good chunk of damage, but doesn't wipe. 2 Zisguns move up. The big problem is that the Soviet player could just be overwhelmed. He needs to get some more mines down, especially along the flanks for these Zisguns, because the Panzer IVs could just drive at him at this point. Especially with the light artillery barrage, just forcing them to pick up. So mines will stabilize him if he drives into them. Might pick it up. He's going to get a snare on 1. This might be a dead Panzer IV. And there's a light artillery barrage. He throws it down on the Zis. So this is probably going to stick it out. And the other secondary one's moving forward. No, he picks it up straight away. So this might be enough. And by might, I mean it definitely is enough to cover the retreat path of this. He's going to have to attack ground on that while the Panzer IV moves up and forward. All that while all the Grenadiers continue to apply pressure, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. He's just getting jammed, and there's a Zisgun shot as the Panzer IV parks itself directly on top of this Zisgun. Gets another one. He throws down the incendiary. Where's the incendiary at? Where the Grenadiers are, and not where they're going to be. So they're just going to walk out of the fire. And Zisgun recrewing from base is going to find this Panzer IV. Second shot. Can he get it through the terrain raise here? Nope. Grenadiers do pick it up, but the Zisgun back home that is recrewing does get the kill. LMG Grens, however, standing on the cutoff, and that's why this incendiary should have been here. He could potentially go for the barrage, and he is. And the first catch is not as glorious as it could have been. Does secure his cutoff, keep it. So fuel will go back his way. Combat engineers should grab this, but I have a feeling that's going to be conscripts. No, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even want it. And there it is. Conscripts are going to grab it. Why are this the combat engineers? But okay. And he's going to try and push up into this stolen Zisgun, rolling its way back home. Panzer IV with Vet 1 being repaired all the way up. No more damage engine for it. Zisgun hanging out in the middle now, basically unsupported, and he's pushing right up into the base. Trying to get this Zisgun decrewed. The shock's just not dealing any damage at that length. Panzer IV fires into the ground. Zisgun finds a shot. Panzer IV still wants to go for this. He really should oorah after this. It's just asleep. Is this going to be a third shot from that Zisgun? I think he could have potentially gotten that there. Meanwhile, the Grenadiers move up, and by gotten that, I mean gotten a third shot. Shocks. This is not a fun retreat path. And realizing that he doesn't want to deal with that in any way, he just gets the soft decap on the fuel and retreats both squads. Shocks should be moving with us a little bit more. Light artillery barrage, where's that at? Onto the Zisgun again. Retreat path with the PM41, however, it could potentially get grabbed here. And not on the money, so the PM41 will make it back home. And another T-34-76. Interesting. Where's that tier 4 from our OST player? Gren's still firing on into combat engineers. Shock's trying to utilize the line of sight blocker here to punish these Grens at close range, but just not going to be enough. Hanging out inside of the house, they're never going to deal enough damage to just take a ton themselves here, despite their little bit higher armor value being a shock unit. But T-34-76 will help delete the Grenadiers a little bit. It's really interesting to know that he keeps using his light artillery barrage when he has a squad that doesn't have a G43 or the LMG upgrade quite yet. There's the first shot from the T-34-76, smashing into those Grens. And the hold-up gun does pick up a little bit more, so 4 models in just 2 shots. Shocks, Cons headed back home. Oh, no, just soft retreating them. Both Zisguns looking for that Panzer IV. And he's going to try and bait with this 76. 76 going to find some more shots. Mispositioning the gun here again. And this is going to be some focus fire onto these Zisguns, I'm sure. One snare into nowhere. Fost bug. Still in the game. Soviets still quite a ways ahead of our OST player in terms of VPs. And there's the Panther. T-34-76 is going to be hard-pressed to pen that. KV-1 could be the choice for our Soviet Union player. It's a giant meat shield. But the Panther will have fun farming vet off of that, I'm sure. Panzer IV not feeling any of this. Now, however, these Zisguns will be more than capable of keeping the Panther at bay. It's just if he overextends with his T-34-76, he could lose it.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
G-42 just hanging out in negative cover, not even inching its way forward. Completely unsupported. There's the Panther. Nice PM41 flare usage. Panther IV moving forward. Ziskuns, along with the PM41, Shocks, and Conscripts, all forced to go home. P-3476 shoots the ground. Panther, along with all the Grens moving forward, and their vehicle prioritization is ready to go. Zisgun 1 connects. Next one shoots the ground. Panther 4 does what it does best, as I've been saying this whole time, misses its shot on the move. I really wish the Soviet player had some sort of indirect that wasn't a PM41 to punish the OST player just walking around with one control group. Katusha would be nice, but he needs to find some pickups onto these vehicles with these Ziskuns sooner rather than later. I like the Maxim thought, but it's just getting lasered down by these LMG Grens. Nice shock nade. Does pick it up from that. Ziskuns find one shot onto the Panzer IV. Panzer IV really hurting. Snared. Panzer IV still going. Panther shoots through the T-34-76. The looks at things. Panther takes one shot, and now the turn rotation. Does he get the shot? He does, and out of control, and there it goes. The Panther's gonna go ahead and go home. Yeah, he needs a snare here. Where are his cons at? They all died. Such a shame that he was jammed up with that Panther, though. Getting it snared in the base there with a ram, if it would have been a little bit closer, would have been glorious, but all the cons dead. Shock's gonna continue to bleed him, and the Panther out. I actually would really like to see a Katusha. The Panther's not gonna do jack shit against the infantry now, so he needs a way of actually dealing with these infantry blobs, and the Maxim was a nice thought, but it's just not gonna do a whole hell of a lot. Panther fights in the building of the recruit Maxim. Maxim's going to try and get some suppression onto this. This gun sets up, fires a shot into the back left armor of that Panther. The Panther's going to head on home. This gun barrage in the middle of everything. 100% accuracy. It doesn't hit a damn thing. Another PM41 flare. I like the usage of the flares from the Soviet player. It's one of the more underutilized indirect vet bonuses that Soviets have available to them.
The enemy has broken our supply lines.
But the Maxim will buy him a little bit of time. But the problem is that time's slowly but surely leaving that of our Soviet player as he is finally below from a 490 VP to 200 or 250 VP. He is now below the OST player. Stolen Zisgun barrages onto the Soviet Zisgun, and he cloaks it up. And backs on and away. Jaeger Command Squad hasn't really seen a whole hell of a lot of action. It just seems like it's been back here backcapping and pushing things off from the west. Eastern Fuel's changing hands again. But two Maxims now, and there's the IS-2. Stalinium has hit the field. Now, I don't really agree with this being built into a Panther, but hopefully it will hit a few things of infantry and take care of those Grens. I do generally think that Katusha would have been better at this point. Double Ziskuns, and with his opponent's micro, he just really hasn't done much to not drive directly into... Oh my! Drive directly into those Ziskuns, but here's all the Grens. Panther misses the shot. Cloaked up Ziskuns trying to sneak its way up. And there's a rear armor hit from the Panther. IS-2 backs on and away. IS-2. A second Panther? Okay. A little curious on the second Panther choice. But all right, especially with the inclusion of the team weapons being utilized to counter the blob here, so to speak. I think a Brumbar would once again just, I mean, the Brumbar is amazing regardless, but could really help with this. But a second Panther seems a bit foolish. Honestly, I think I would rather see a Panther 4. 2 Panthers is a bit much. Grenadiers headed on and away.
Panther ready.
Second Panther. We'll see if 2 big cats can take on the Stalinium from the Soviet player. Triple VP cap from OST though. Time is now for our Soviet player to get onto these VPs. He can't just be hanging out, smoking cigarettes, passing the vodka around on a munitions point. He's got to get onto these VPs. Nice teller mine here, too. Meanwhile, the Gren Blob. Press 1 and A moves it out of base. I like that he's using the cloak and just kind of cover the whole west end. PM41 using the sight. IS-2 rolls up, fires a shot. Doesn't really connect with a whole hell of a lot. 5 models dropped. 8 models dropped. PM41 finds that MG42. 2 sets of Grens head home. Panther on the east, Panther on the west. Shocks. Try to engage the Jaeger Command and throw a nade, but doesn't hit as they do back on and away. And he's getting on all 3 VPs, so triple cap is changing hands now. Only 100 VPs left for our Soviet player to the 190 of OST. And now the offensive has to come out from our OST player. Double Panthers just sleeping. Not too interested in doing much. This triple vet Jaeger command squad, though, annihilates that shock squad. Looks like they did catch a rifle nade from them. And they did indeed. Panthers rolling up. Trying to engage his infantry. Maxim suppressing up the whole blob, but just too much here. IS-2 rolling forward. There goes the Maxim. IS-2 finds a shot onto that. Ziskun's moving up to support. One Panther very weak from catching what looks like 2 shots. Stolen Ziskun fires in the rear side of the IS-2. PM41 still tagging this MG42. MG42 sent home. And the Panthers move up and then go home again. IS-2 not really taking a whole hell of a lot of damage. He's going to need another combat engineer sooner rather than later for Soviets if this IS-2 takes any real damage, as the repair time on it is astronomical. Conscripts rolling forward, ignoring the VP and going for what looks like the fuel. Ziskun getting bullied by the Flamen Warfare Pioneers and the Hazard Removal Pioneers. Panthers roll up now. Ziskun was barraging on both of them. IS-2 rolling away. Finds a shot. Fades it out. While the Panthers come around the side of the building here. And the Ziskun should shut up for this. That was a miraculous rear armor shot if I've ever seen one. And now the IS-2's in a lot of trouble, as it's completely unsupported. And it's going to get blocked in. Can he get the last shot? Oh, abandoned. He has to stay here a little bit longer. He's going to pick up 1 Panther. And is he not going to kill it? Oh, my. LMG's moving up. It's still getting shot in the back. He needs to put down the incendiary barrage right here. IS-2. Abandoned. Potential to be stolen by OST. And it might be. Is he going to have to be forced to destroy his own IS-2? He is going to let it walk away. Ziskun bounced. There it goes. Forced to kill his own IS-2. T-3476 queued up now. Still has the VPs under control for a little bit, as it looks like he's just interested in pushing away any sort of infantry that is hanging around, but he is getting onto the east one. He will work his way back into the middle one with his 1 control group, with conscripts just hang out inside of this building. Jaeger Command Squad and rifle nade from the Grenadiers will surely get those conscripts out, and it'll be a triple VP cap back for OST. Panther not even being repaired yet. Maxim pretending that it's going to do something relevant against these blobs. And he's just literally walking LMG Grens at these Maxims and killing them. Zisgun stolen, doing so much more than either of these Zisguns have done with their barrages. One shot on the money, the second one hits them while they move over and across the side.
We are losing a sector.
T-42 triple vet. Rolling up, but really it's just the PM41's throwing some rocks out. T-34-76, apparently the driver is so drunk that he thought going backwards is the best way. He rolls up to the front completely backwards. Triple vet MG42 goes down, and the weapon actually breaks, so it's not recrewable at all.
The enemy has only 50 points.
And another Panther being queued up. It's so strange. Shocks will push those off of here. Secondary Panther, a little whiles away from the front yet. Zisguns are going to find those shots, pen the Panther, and send it right on back to being repaired. Shocks neutralize the BP, throw down a nade, and Grens do retreat in the middle. The Maxim is hanging out, has that Vet 1 sustained fire ability. Wow. I still maintain that he needs a Katusha. Definitely not another shock squad. Nothing like the casual 42-minute secondary shock squad on Langriskaya. As you know, his first squad that's been out since the 12-minute mark has done so much work with its 7 kills. It is literally going to jettison him to victory.
The enemy is taking our territory.
100% the wrong choice. One shock squad's questionable enough, but 2? T-34-76 gonna try and stop this blob up. Both Panthers, big cats, coming on through. Cloaked up Zis finds a shot, connects. That rear armor shot from this T-34-76, and now he hasn't used incendiary. He has to put down the incendiary. Where the hell is his Maxim at? He points these Zis guns at it. T-34 says, just ram one. You could get both. It's so much fuel and manpower. He should have just rammed them both. There go both Zis guns. LMG Gren's gonna win the day with the control group 1, A moving across the map, and GG's thrown in. And a good game from both players, despite both of them seeming to only have 2 fingers on each hand. It was fun to cast, but it's typical Langriskaya. South base is so heavily favored that OST does manage to come back. So with that, we'll go ahead and get on to the next one, and yeah, we'll see what else we can find.